I'm 44 and he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Well, don't know what, Lex, actually. I don't know. I might have actually jumped in. I might have. I'll tell you what's happened. And I was listening to that gentleman there. And the only reason I kind of stuck it out to speak to you, because for me, I just seen your circle pop up, and you're a very intelligent man, and you seem very level headed. And then when I heard that gentleman talk, and he was an absolute gentleman, I've got this thing where, and I might be changing the subject here now, and it's just literally just happened now. And I don't know, because you can't say certain words on TikTok, can you? So I would choose my words very carefully. There's literally debates going on about the people fighting the corner of child offenders. Can I say paedophile?
Well, you can say PDF files or something like that.
Sorry. And I just can't believe what I've just seen now. And I'm not on TikTok an awful lot, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And every time I come down, but that's the worst thing I've just seen now. And when I seen you, like your circle come up, and I just thought, like, because it's a man thing. And I just feel like, say like someone like yourself, you don't know, you're doing a positive thing, and there's a lot of positive people out there. But I can't see how these things are being allowed to happen. And, you know, and you know, the only reason I stuck about to kind of like talk to you is because when I listened to that gentleman there, and I'm peace and love, you know, but are these men drawing it? Like, are they trying to just draw it for is it called clicks, or because I can't believe that they believe what they're saying. They're like the conversation that I just heard there. And then yesterday there was a conversation about the beating of women, and there's people fighting the corner of that. And then I seen another one saying that, you know, there's so many, look, you know, you could pick so many topics now the way the world is now. And I don't know, like, honest to God, I didn't come in with an agenda. I just seen your circle pop up, and again, you're an intelligent geezer, and it's just, I don't know. I think that either it's like, for me, you know, you either. Sorry, I don't have a great vocabulary. They're either doing it. They're either doing it for attention, which is awful, or they believe in what they're saying, which is awful. Like, I couldn't believe the conversation that they're having there now, fighting the corner of sex offenders, like child sex offenders.
Yeah, you will have to be careful with saying stuff like that.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, ultimately, there are a lot of people on here that are choosing to uphold certain narratives that are harmful. And a lot of time, if you try to report those lives, nothing really does happen. So it's difficult. But yes, I think it's a mixture of the two, but I think it would be a bit unfair to assume they're doing it just to try and get, I'm not saying you are, but just to try and get clicks, or just to try and get, attention.
No.
A lot of men genuinely believe.
Sorry, I'll be honest with you, mate. Like, I don't know. I've never come on. I've not jumped on with a massive opinion and stuff like that. It's pretty much just to get your knowledge of it, really. Because and do you remember when that whole thing was happening a long time ago with the what was it? It wasn't the bear one. It was,
Might have been, yeah, man or bear.
no, but what was the one before that? It was all men. No, it is all men. That one.
Men until no men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like, when I come on TikTok and I kind of listen to it, I like to think I'm a level-headed geezer. I'm 44 years old, working class bloke. Parents are builders, and sorry, well, not my mum. She was a cleaner, but I'm from that era, and I feel like that TikTok has given people a voice that might not have been in a social group before, and they're being taken quite seriously. And I don't know, man. I don't know.
People find comfort with belonging. And if you've got an opinion that someone else is sharing with you that reaffirms something you don't feel too comfortable vocalizing because you're worried about how that might come across, once you find a couple of people that do feel the same way, strength in numbers.
But what is it that because I didn't know, it was only when I first started seeing your stuff, and because I'm too old for, I was going to say Pat Tate, but what's the name of, they've got, oh, what's his name? Everyone, don't know, all the young lads follow him now. He got banged up for a while, didn't he?
Got it right, the Tate brothers.
That's it, the Tate brothers there and stuff like that. Like, when because I seen a couple of your stuff, and then I thought, well, what's it about? And then I watched that show, and then there was another show in the States, and like I'm not a professional boxer, but I work for kids and I box, and my sister's a teacher and stuff like that, and we have a lot of conversations about the trouble with young boys now and stuff, and image and everything else like that, and they're fixated on these people, and
of course, yes. This is the issue with the amount of mainstream media and attention and focus that the algorithm gives to these types of content creators. They're pushing a message out to a lot of, well, I say anyone, but young boys.
I can really understand that, because we're from an era where we was before phones. Well, sorry, I'm not trying to. I don't know how old you are, but like, so all that stuff don't wash with me, because brought up a different way, working class way. So I understand that, like, they're born into the phone, and this is the only information they're getting. And I just don't understand some of the information. I won't swear, but it's absolute nonsense. It's like common sense,
Problem is that they obviously do it in a way that sounds very convincing. They do it with having a lot of money around them. Some of them do it with showing the lifestyle that they live, whether it's fancy cars or living in expensive villas or having lots of women around them, and it pushes the notion that this is what success looks like.
But the thing is, they seem to be trying to cause a barrier between men and women. When I was growing up,
they are. They're trying to. They are causing a divide with the opinions that they have, because they essentially promote that for you to get to the top of whatever a high value man is, this is also how you need to treat women along the way. And that's where misogyny comes in. So yeah, it does. It creates the divide even further.
Because I was talking to my sister yesterday, and I can only talk for because I'm a builder as well, and I work with young lads and stuff like that. And for one, it's the dating sites and everything else like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't really get all that kind of thing. But I was asking my sister. I feel like women they'll start overtaking men, and I think they've already started to do it. Because and again, I'm not putting any youngsters down or whatever, because all this stuff coming through the phone, like, who would have thought that that's the most entertaining thing people want to do now, is just look at the phone. Don't want to travel, don't want to what can I say? I was going to say have sex, and my lad said that they don't really seem to go out that often. They don't really socialise. People don't travel. And I work with not loads of people, but young kids, but I work with enough of them and train a lot of them, and they just have no interest in it at all. And I don't know, it's just, sorry, mate, I might have waffled on there, but I was just...
Mike, I appreciate you coming up and sharing, I do, and I think, there's a lot of unanswered questions out there, and that's what part of these lives are, and the videos that I do is to raise an awareness for, kind of patterns of that behaviour and the ways in which, women, femme-presenting people and girls are affected by it, but also just recognizing on a very subtle level that men are also affected by patriarchy, and things need to change, but it has to start with men. But honestly, I appreciate you coming up, so thank you for sharing, Mike.
Look, I appreciate you listening. All right, thanks, pal.
Have a good day. Take care, buddy.
And you, bye,
mate. Appreciate Mike for sharing that. Hello.
Oh, hello, K42, she, her. Huge respect to Mike for coming up and having that discussion. It's just a little reminder chat, right? This is an educational space for men to unpack misogyny, right? Now, I get the frustrations at times of some of the things we're going to hear, okay? But we have to remember patriarchy and social conditioning also impacts men, whether we like it or not. Education takes time to process, okay? First part of that education process and unpacking is it landing? Is people actually realising what is going on around them. And yes, we acknowledge if that is coming from a man's perspective, that they're just finally starting to realise what is happening. Yes, we can acknowledge that's privilege, that's entitlement, etc. But the point of this live is for men to unpack that and get educated. So if you're getting frustrated by the whole point of this live and a guest actually coming up and engaging with the premise of this space, I think you need to reflect about why you're here. There are people to push back upon. That guest was not one of them. Okay? So please just be mindful when you're having these frustrations. Okay? And you know I will not say this lightly, given the level of harm that me, the other women and femme and mods, I'm talking about women particularly in here, that we're subjected to, the harm, the things that I've shared. Okay? I'm not just going to give cookies out to anyone. But at the same time, this is an educational live. We want men to come up and discuss the prompts and start to unpack. Everyone is going to be coming at this perspective or education from all different places. Okay, so I am going to give full respect to Mike coming up and actually engaging in the discussion and being respectful and asking questions. That's the start of his unpacking journey and his education, and I will give him credit for that. That's the point of this space. Anyway, I'm done.
Thank you.
Bye.
Much love. Bye-bye. Yes, that is, as you know, that is what we are here for. And, you know, we've always said we can never guarantee a safe space because we never know what the guest may or may not say. However, yeah, that guest was genuinely here to share, I suppose, the surprises that he's maybe experienced or seen on what type of things are being said. And it's just an acknowledgement that if we're going to have those conversations, then yeah, that's what this space is here for. Yes. I've popped a flare just to see. Apparently I've got 2 of them, so I've popped one to see what's going to happen. But yeah. Kells, it genuinely is Keys, sorry, I thought it was an L. It's just I spent a lot of time in women's spaces who hosted lives and talking about these topics. A lot of time understanding, you know, different organizations, resources, statistics, definitions, almost like a glossary of words and understanding how they all intertwine. You know, at the beginning of my journey, wouldn't have even known what intersectionality was until that got put my way as well. You start to realize you can't pick and choose what you do kind of want to advocate for within that sort of space, because to say that, you know, women are affected by things and not then recognize how much further that increases for women that also, you know, cross over into other intersections would be completely ignoring even more differences of oppression under the patriarchy. So even that in itself was a brand new one. Appreciate you asking. Well, it looks like it's a quiet one. But I've always said this, when any of my videos are doing quite well, the lives go quiet. Catch 22. You'd think it'd be the opposite, or at least like you think if the videos are doing well, that would increase and push your live out to the algorithm, but nah. Obviously not. Hey Nat, how's it going? TJ, age and pronouns, please.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Just want to make sure. I am 19 and I go by he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
The only thing I do agree with a lot of the stuff that you have to say. I do want to clarify on some points, just to make sure I've gotten everything right.
Yeah, sure.
So when you're talking about men are not the protectors or providers, I'm assuming you mean that there's not a certain gender role in a relationship. So women can also be the providers. You know, they can go work while the men take care of the child and cook and clean. Like, there's not a stereotypical gender or a role for a gender, right?
Yeah, I don't believe there is or should be. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. I just want to make sure. And then all men until no men. I'm assuming when you say that, it's like people will just date people until they find the person that stops them from doing that. If I got that correctly?
No, not quite. So the okay. Phenomenon is all men hold on to misogyny and have a responsibility to unpack it. Women's biggest form of oppression is gender-based violence, and so women being wary and cautious of all men is completely understandable.
Okay, I can see that point. I think the main point I had to go against is just how this phrase body count doesn't matter. I only say that because it's when you say doesn't, it means like it's not being taken into consideration by anybody. I believe that it shouldn't matter. You know, when it should be more about the character, about the person, right? But when people, I think we're just naturally going, when we look at a partner or whatever, depending on that person's values,
not natural.
we assume, and we shouldn't, but we just naturally assume that, like, if we're not looking for a promiscuous woman, right?
We don't naturally assume.
I'm sorry?
We don't naturally assume. We might assume based on past experiences that lead us to now assume in certain situations, but that's not natural. Because there are people out there that don't care about someone's body count, and therefore they won't assume. So it's not natural, it's because something has happened to that individual to make it relevant to them for some reason.
Okay. So then could we agree on, by their environment or maybe even their cultural norms, like around their area where they live, that it would lead to that assumption?
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's not then body count that matters. It's your interpretation of what that body count means to you. So therefore, that's what matters to you, your interpretation. And that's rooted in misogyny or insecurities. So therefore, I'm saying that men who have an issue with a woman's body count, what they're actually saying is their misogyny or insecurities matter to them, and they project that onto body count being the problem.
Okay. Well then, what would you say, like, at least from my perspective, right? I'm someone who, like, when I look at sex, it should be between someone, like a lifelong partner you trust, right? And so, at least from my perspective, if there is, not saying that this is like all be all, right? If someone has a big body count, they act this way, by no means, right? But when I see someone who has a higher body count, right? It's only, I feel like I assume that they would be someone more loose with the people they go around, maybe someone who's not super committed to a relationship. At least that's how I see it. And by high body count, I mean maybe 20 or something like that, even more.
Yep.
I see it, and I'm like, when I think about if I should date someone, right? I look at it to where I see this person has a bunch of body counts. They've given themselves to a bunch of people, right? Whether or not it was.
You don't give yourself to people. You share an intimate moment with someone, or you share a moment of fun with someone. You're not giving.
Oh yeah, I would say it works both. Like, you give yourself the same way someone gives themselves. It's both ways. But yeah, it's mutual.
Yeah,
when I say that,
I don't really like it when it's described as giving yourself to someone. Like, you don't give anything of yourself. You share a moment. You know, it's like, because otherwise that's the equivalent of every relationship interaction. Like, you don't give yourself to someone when you make them laugh. You just share the moment that's funny and you laugh together. Like, you're not giving anything. You still have all of you. But phrase it in that way because it makes it seem like they shouldn't have given any part of their body to someone else. They should be saving it for someone in particular. So again, it's just the narrative of the wording almost pushes this idea that, a woman's body shouldn't be given when it's not anyway.
Okay, sorry. Then I appreciate you for correcting me on that. Then
that's right. Sometimes this is the thing. Wording is like something to just think about in the ways that we're describing certain dynamics. But you did kind of lead with, again, I would assume if you have high body count. And that's what I'm saying earlier, right? Is those assumptions is driving from either insecurity or misogyny.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing if it's insecurities. I want to make it clear, we all have insecurities. That's not a bad thing. But if you project that onto body count being the problem, you're removing accountability from your own self on the insecurity you have. You're almost saying it's not the problem. I'm going to say the body count is.
I guess from my perspective, I wouldn't say it stems from insecurity. Why I say that it's not necessarily. What's up?
Well, if you're assuming that a high body count means something, the only reason your mind would be assuming it is for a potential danger or reason to not date this person. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter to you, right? So the assumption is coming from a point of, I need to look out for something. This could be a warning. That's what the insecurity is I feel worried or concerned about this situation that might not work out for me because of body count. But that doesn't tell you anything factual about who she is as a person. Doesn't tell you if she's honest, doesn't tell you if she's got a good sense of humor, doesn't tell you if she's respectful, doesn't even tell you if she's trustworthy. So the body count, you're kind of then making up stories in your mind to justify your decision rather than thinking, hey, why don't I just spend time with her and get to know her? And if I like being around her, then that's what I'm going to work with because that's real. That's something I'm experiencing.
Okay. I can see what you're saying. So let me just make sure I've got this right. It should be, excuse me, it should be more about, or it's wrong. I'm not saying it was never wrong to assume to begin with. I don't think I'm right for assuming it. But it should be more focused about, not what the stereotypical like way that it could potentially to be, and more of just looking at the person face value, giving everybody a chance, even if there's stereotypes on people with more of a higher body count.
Yeah, so there's another two ways of looking at it. From a philosophical standpoint, you would never even know whether she's telling you the truth on her body count anyway. Right? So she could tell you her body count's 2 and it could be 20. So you would never actually know. You just have to lead with trust. But secondly, imagine if you flipped the narrative whereby from now on, you were never allowed to ask a woman her body count. And even if you did, she wouldn't tell you. Like, imagine if that was the world we lived in. Men wouldn't just stop dating women because because men would still be attracted to women and still want to date them and still want to be in relationships. So how would you find out whether you're compatible with someone now, not knowing their body count? What things would you look for?
Well, it would just be what the person is as in general, like values and stuff like that. I see what you're saying.
And this is it, right? Like if you spend, so men who have assumptions, there's men out there that go, well, if she's got a high body count, she's probably going to be, disloyal, or she's not going to have much self-respect, whatever it might be, right? Sure. But if you remove that assumption and you remove the body count perspective and you're spending time with her, and after a couple of weeks, you think to yourself, do you know what? Her behaviors have shown me that she lacks self-respect. You've arguably got some kind of proof because you have maybe experienced that about her. If she was with you and she constantly lied to you and you caught her at times lying, you might sit there and think, I don't really want to be with someone who can't be honest with me. And she's demonstrated that she's lied a few times. That leads me to think that your actions are showing me you're not very trustworthy. That doesn't have to be a reflection on your body count. That's just a reflection of I've experienced you now lying to me multiple times, and therefore I don't want to be with you because of that. But if men start saying body count is going to make you do these things, that's how men push a narrative that body count leads to all these types of behaviors that are bad about women, when it's not necessarily true. So that's what get the body count out your mind, because all that does really is demonstrate that you're more focused on the men she's been with before you, and she's kind of in the present moment trying to build a connection with you. She's on the present, you're on the past.
No, I get it. I guess before it was more like I was thinking it's like, oh, there's some kind of pattern or a trend, so I don't want to potentially waste time looking or dating those people because there's more of a risk that they could possibly be cheating or what have you, right? But now I really do like your when you say like, oh well, what in the world if there was a world that they couldn't say the body count? I think that I really like when you said that. But yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I know we don't live in that world, right?
I know, but it definitely makes you think about like the perspective, because and it 100% be true. Men wouldn't stop dating women if they didn't tell them their body count, exactly. No matter what. Like that, I think that was a great point.
And that's what we have to recognize, right? Is are you trying to see them for a human being, or are you trying to see them as a number? A woman's body count is 20. What does that tell you? It doesn't actually tell you anything factual about
absolutely.
Like, it just tells you she's had schmex with 20 different people. Okay, now what, right? And the reason why I say this is men then think body count matters because then they want context. They'll start saying things like, well, now that's going to lead me to ask more questions. And I say to them, what question? And they'll say, how many of those were one night stands? You know, and I'm like, okay, so what number could she possibly give that you would feel comfortable with, where you don't need to ask any more questions now? Because it wouldn't stop there. And this is the problem. It wouldn't stop there. Men would not have their minds settled if she turned around and went 12. He'd be like, I've still got more I need to know, right? So what it does is it drives you down this route of, I'm completely ignoring who you are as a human being now. I'm focusing on this whole body count thing. You're
just like a downward spiral.
Yeah, and it's like a checklist, right? It's like you might as well take a checklist with you. To you know, have you done this? How many people with blah, 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 right? The other reason why the body count thing doesn't make sense to me is, do you think that if you met a woman who had schmex twice, or you met a woman who had, you know, engaged in oral schmex 30 times, be honest, which one would you be less likely to want to engage with?
I guess if I was looking at, I guess I was kind of a little ignorant. Before I got in here, I would have answered probably someone who did, I guess, penetrative sex to the less amount.
So you're saying that, yeah, no, so I'm saying if someone had schmex twice, but someone did oral 30 times, 2 different people, who would you not want to be with out of that? With that information, is there one of them that you wouldn't want to be as interested in?
Now I would say I don't think it would necessarily matter. But if I was looking at it before I joined the live, I probably would have said the one with the least number, no matter what. At least in my opinion.
So as in you'd rather get to know the person who's had schmex twice.
Yes.
Right. So this is my point, right? Men don't ask those questions. So they will ask body count, and if they hear a satisfactory number in their mind, they're not really bothered about all the other forms of intimacy that she could have had with other people. She could have had schmex twice, but had oral schmex 30 times. If men knew that, maybe they might change their mind, right? So what I'm saying is, like, you're not actually finding out everything you think you need to know. You just find out how many times they've had schmex with someone.
Yeah.
So all this information that gets kind of missed out and goes, you know, with the unknown, what is that trying to feed to men? What is it they feel they need to hear that's going to lead them to think, I'm happy getting to know this person now, based on feeling secure? You know, that's the issue with it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I do appreciate. Thank you. I appreciate you talking to me about it.
That's all good. Did you have any of the other problems you wanted to talk about?
Maybe I don't know. Is there anybody else in line? I don't want to take up anybody else's time here. I don't want it to be the talk of attention.
No, I don't. I've got one requesting, which might be an accidental because they follow me, but they could let me know in the chat. But no, go for it. If you want to ask another question, we've got time.
When I normally agree, right? When it says men telling their partners what to wear is upholding rape culture.
TikTok friendly language, grape culture.
Oh, sorry, grape. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah.
Could you go more in depth on it?
So if you were to think of the reasons why men would want to try and tell their partner what to wear, what examples or situations would that be in?
I think maybe in a situation, let's say you're in a relationship, right? Your woman's possibly going out, maybe by herself with a couple friends, right? Let's say even to go to the bar, beat, or whatever, and they're wearing more revealing clothing, right? The men might have a preference in saying, "Hey, could you not wear that? I would rather you not get this negative attention from these other men and potentially them coming on to you, and I don't want that. I would not want that to happen."
Perfect. So essentially what's being done is we're focusing on the victim or survivor of what could happen to make a change to facilitate men's poor behavior. Essentially what you're doing is, rather than focusing on trying to get men to behave themselves, you know, and control themselves, whatever word you want to use, it's make sure you change something about you and so that you're the perfect victim, right? We already know that clothing is not the issue because we have What Were They Wearing museum, where clothing ranges from nappies to school uniforms.
Oh, yes, I do know about that, yeah.
Right, so we know that clothing is not the issue. But the other problem with this and why it upholds grape culture is because if you're telling your partner not to wear it, essentially what you're saying is, if you think a man is going to be out there that night to potentially grape someone, or SA someone, and you're telling your partner to change, what you're doing is saying, make sure it's not you, but it's someone else.
Okay.
Right? So to make out that you care and you're not upholding the culture, essentially you are, because you're saying that the clothing is what's going to save you. But as long as if it doesn't happen to you, I'm happy, right? And the problem is it's not about the clothing. So because you're maybe coming from the premise of if it doesn't happen to you, but it happens to someone else, then fine. It's almost like, well, the behavior isn't changing then, right? If someone's going out to cause that harm, then that's what needs to be focused on, the perpetrator.
Okay.
So it keeps the culture going of we have to accept that this behavior is out there, and I'm going to do what I think is protecting, which is making sure she doesn't go out and wear revealing clothes. Now, statistically, do you know where the most unsafe place is for a woman?
I mean, at least I couldn't tell you like 100% sure, but at least in my mind, it would be somewhere where they're isolated, potentially in a not, in a not safe place. Like maybe I could, like, for an example, maybe in an alley with a bunch of crime, or a neighborhood with a bunch of crime, potentially. I don't know.
Is their home. Statistically, the most unsafe place for a woman is their home.
Oh, is that because? Okay, no, I think I do remember reading it somewhere. Like rape happens more from like a close individual. Then yeah, okay, I can understand that when looking from a great perspective.
Again, also forms of abuse, etc. Right?
Yes.
Right. So if we're pushing the narrative that women shouldn't wear revealing clothes in public because it might draw attention, why don't we just say that women shouldn't date men? Because if the most unsafe place for a woman is in her home, then actually that would, we would avoid that then if women weren't living with men. But we don't push that narrative, do we? Right? Because we would like to think that relationships out there can exist in a healthy dynamic. No different to when you're in public, you should be able to have healthy, relationships or interactions with people. So when we're trying to sort of like tell the victim what to do differently, you're essentially saying, I'm not going to invest my time and energy in trying to educate men to not perpetrate and do the problem, like the problematic behavior. Instead, I'll just tell my partner to change something about her. But then when does it end? Like, where does it end in telling your partner what she should and shouldn't do to avoid this? Like, and this is unfortunately how abusive behaviors comes in, right? Because men can use that narrative as a way to say, I don't think you should go out because something might happen to you. And then slowly what happens if she chooses not to go out, doesn't go out with her friends now, because your feelings of discomfort about another man's behavior is more important than her fun. It's you that feels uncomfortable about the other men out there. And instead, she ends up suffering because you're telling her to change something about herself because of men's behavior, right? That's why I have the prompt all men until no men, because men also believe it as well. If a man feels like he should tell his partner to change her clothes, it's because he is saying that there is enough men out there that could be dangerous, that something could happen to you. That is the same principle as all men until no men.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I really did disagree with you on here. I mean, I mainly agreed with you with the last question. I just wanted to make sure I got more of an in-depth explanation on it.
I appreciate you being respectful. Thanks for coming up, TJ.
Of course. You have a blessed day.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye. Mike's back. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
No, it's just because with the body count thing, it's quite it's one for me that it annoys me sometimes. And again, I'm not on TikTok the whole time, but I constantly hear when people talk about body count and the blokes going, yeah, high body count, if they got a problem with it, it always seems to be like, oh, it's a girl having fun, or she's having casual sex or whatever. Now, where I grew up, on the road that I was on, there was two brothels, and I grew up like I knew them from when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And as you get to know them and stuff, it's just part and parcel of if you hear some of the backstories of what got them into that situation and how they tried to better their life for their daughters or their families or whatever the case may be, I can't imagine then someone saying to them, like, where did it come about where a geezer feels like he's got the right to say how many people you slept with? Now, what if one of them women said, don't know, I don't know, put her on the spot like that? What's she supposed to say? Is she written off as well now for that? You know, it's just...
Well, that's the misogyny of a lot of men, is recognizing that actually, you know, when men complain or wonder why women lie about their body count, it's because look at the type of, you know, systemic harm that, and socially, the harm that women experience when they do say what their body count is.
But how does that question even come about? I couldn't even imagine, like...
Because men are insecure or misogynistic. This is what I say, right, is that, you know, men feel like they need to know this answer because they think it reveals so much information about that person that they might be dating or getting to know.
Yeah.
And they lead with that. They're like, right, your body count is 18. Okay, in my head, I've already checked out by like 70%. And the point is, right, as soon as that number is said, if men have got an issue with a certain number and it's near that, they will not get that out of their mind. They just won't.
No, I agree with you.
They won't put it aside, right? You either like hold on to that insecurity or misogyny, and that's why it's always going to be something you need to know, or you genuinely don't care because you recognize them for a human being to get to know who they are. You know,
do you think that all this kind of I don't know, body count topic all the time and stuff, do you think that's going to fade away now slowly because people don't go out? They're not having casual sex as much. Like, not, I don't know, in our era, it was crazy, wasn't it? Like, it was stupid.
Let's not say crazy or stupid. They're ableist terminology.
Sorry.
Wild is probably okay to say, but
wild, yeah.
Like, I think what we have to recognize is, you know, it's not something that I think is going to go away as a question, just because the heavy push by Red Pill is still, you know, hugely across a lot of social media platforms. And it's growing in numbers. The narrative that the Tate brothers and like-minded people are pushing, they get given big platforms because, yeah, they can afford it, you know, through like whatever clickbait and things they've said that, you know, drive enough people to want to go into supporting them, let's say. But unfortunately, there's enough of them out there now that are doing this. And a lot of men are jumping on that. A lot of young men are being, I suppose, indoctrinated into listening to it and then starting to embed some of the language in their everyday conversations. You know, that's why we're seeing a rise in misogyny in primary schools, secondary schools.
Yeah.
And obviously now we've got online, you know, we've got AI that's got a huge part to play in the ways in which teenage boys are using that to do certain things with, you know, let's say inappropriate things. You know, so yeah, there's a lot.
I was getting like the reason I still actually think it will slowly start to fade out because I completely agree with you, and I don't know much about, you know, what a lot of young lads are listening to the red pill and all that kind of stuff. But they seem to be fixated about I need to get money. I need to, don't know, like women like she won't like me because I don't have any money and all this kind of stuff. So that Jack the lad chatting up a girl on a night out and stuff, all that's gone. Like, there's no banter. So a lot of lads can't even make eye contact with you when they're talking to you. So with all this stuff so out in the open, already there's a barrier. Jesus Christ, that frightened the living life out of me. So I just, unless you're someone that, I don't know, from what I gather from it, you've got to be someone who is really up there as a young lad now and have the confidence with it, because the young blokes I work with, you know, they don't feel good enough that they're a builder. Feel like they even question whether to follow the trade. You know, it seems like everyone just seems like they're lost. But the distance between young lads and girls is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know. I just don't think that. I don't know. I just don't. The thing is, I keep saying I'm 44. When I was growing up, we all went out united, you know. And I know that I keep hearing all this stuff like you can't be friends with a girl, and if you're a bloke, and all this kind of stuff. And sure, there is situations like that. There always has been, but it's like they're really just trying to put a line against the two sexes, you know.
Well, that's what patriarchy has always been about. It's always been about men oppressing women, and further marginalizing other communities and demographics on top of that So yeah, I'm going to bring Kitty. I think Kitty wants to join the
Sorry,
conversation.
mate. Yeah, that's the last time I'll bother you.
I think Kitty wants to join. So as in like to listen in as well.
Right. Got you.
Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Kitty, 42, she, her. Just bringing someone else who's in their 40s, as young Lex here is still in his late 30s. So I'm just going to say one thing, and this is to chat. This is not to you, Mike. Chat, I'm going to ask you for the final time to be respectful, and trust me, because I want to be so disrespectful to so many of you here tonight, because you've not shown grace, compassion, or respect to many of the guests. If you cannot be respectful, leave the live and take a break, or the chat is going off. It's simple as that. Anyway, apologies, Mike.
That's all good, darling.
So, because I know you were saying it feels like there's a line between the genders, and obviously when maybe if you were going out and about and things like that when you're younger, obviously we're of similar ages, it was always there. Even if we were all going out, all in big groups, it was always there. It was just so ingrained, so rooted, and a lot of the culture, particularly back then, it seemed more acceptable. It wasn't. But women have been socially conditioned to view men as a prize, basically, and to look for the male gaze in everything we do, and not to speak up about the way that we got treated, or like particularly on things like on nights out or in the workplace and things like that. It's always been there. Women have always seen it. But it's only now a lot of us are unpacking our own internalized misogyny and things as well, and actually reframing how we've been treated.
Yeah. Even with other topics which have gone on with like the march and everything else, I didn't realise how fortunate I am to be where I'm from, because like I'm from northwest London, from a little place in Burnt Oak. It's a little market town. We was all together, do you know, and just the way some people talk about, well, a lot of people talk about their upbringing and even different parts of London and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a shame, because that working class upbringing now has gone completely, really. I think, you know, there might be a different version of working class, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to put myself down too much and say I'm not the most intelligent geezer in the world, but I generally just wanted to get you just to ask you a few questions about it. Really, I don't really have a massive opinion. I just wanted to have a conversation. That's all.
And that's where it starts, Mike, and full respect to you for that. That's where it starts, with these kind of conversations and unpacking. And it is genuinely, once you start noticing it and hearing more about it, particularly, you know, I'd actually encourage you to speak to the other like women in your life and things as well, and their experiences.
Yeah, I was brought up by my mum and my two sisters. Our dad went, so you know, that's I'm not. I don't know why I said that, but it's just, I don't know. Like Lex said something there a minute ago when he said like the where people are, what was it, where girls feel less safe, or they're more in danger. Don't know, my sister even said to me 2 days ago, and she's 46, that even when she hears the van pull up or just a random van, and she's sitting in her gaff, she'll get a shiver. You know, men have a big effect on the long-term way of thinking for a woman. They just do, you know.
Yeah, I hear that. That's
how I feel with my sisters, because they won't get involved with anyone. You know?
Yeah, and it's fear, and it's fear we've always had, but like, unfortunately, because of the patriarchy, social conditioning, you know, a lot of women, particularly, you know, in their 30s and 40s, are only really starting to reframe and speak up about the experiences now that we're becoming more educated and unpacking things ourselves, and reframing situations that we've been through, and realizing how particular situations weren't acceptable, about how we're treated, how ingrained misogyny has been, and that we've been subjected to it from, you know, an incredibly young age. And I think and that's first part of this is obviously you've realised, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. But what I would like absolutely recommend is looking towards solutions now. And you know,
Do you think TikTok makes it worse? Do you think TikTok is making it? Like, obviously not people like Lex and positive people trying to be positive, but do you think that it is in some ways really making it a lot worse?
In all honesty, I don't think it can get much worse. I think spaces like any social media platform is going to bring groups of people together that share similar perspectives
100%.
for the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
So we have people in here in this community, you know, some are very opposed to learning, but they're curious in here. Or you'll get others who have a natural curiosity and want to learn. And, you know, we do have a really strong, wonderful community. So like anything, I think social media apps, I think they fast track that access to information of things that's always been there. Misogyny's always been there. Objectification of women, harm to women, but more people are now. Do
you know what really shocked me? What really shocked me was how aggressive these blokes were calling up straight away. Not the first thing they said when that was "it's all men" thing. You know, the anger, and I just thought, like, relax, man, just listen, hear what's going on here, like, you know.
And it's often because they're triggered. They see a prompt, they see things like this, and because many of the women in femme presenting mods in this space that come up, in contrast, Lex, you know, I'm not saying Lex doesn't get any harm or anything like that, but in contrast, me, Staples, one of the mods who's on the panel as well, we get such hate and threats from triggered men because of these lives, because of education.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Again, we experienced that offline as well.
I'm not sure the woman's name, but Lex is Lex go. Well, I've seen Lex go on her show before. She's an American woman. She's on blonde hair.
I think she's Canadian. Chantel.
Yeah, she had a terrible time of it, I think, with her. Yeah. Like, I couldn't believe, like, how angry these blokes were calling up. And I know what was making me laugh a little bit? They'd say the same thing, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Yeah. But, you know, just, if you just, like, because the thing, look, the way I kind of understood that was it was an experiment to see how men are going to react. Don't tell me I'm on camera. The way you look at it. No, Jesus.
Someone said about the light switch behind me, so I just...
Oh, right, sorry, mate. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, what I was going to say is, what was I going to say there? Is, the way I was kind of looking at it, like, this is a great experiment to show really kind of like, because I think what were you saying there, really, that, sorry, the way the blokes were taking it, like it's all men, they're kind of relating it to something that's within themselves. And that's what was making them angry. So it wasn't even really about the question. And what was really interesting, the host didn't have to say nothing.
Yeah.
Really. And it was just, they'd row at themselves, you know? And it was just so interesting just to watch. Like, I don't know. This is what I mean about kind of, I don't know, in a few years, I don't know how they'd filter it, but some of the stuff that he said is.
But you know, like, while you're saying that it was really interesting to watch,
yeah,
it's worth recognizing that as a man,
yeah,
who doesn't maybe react like those men,
yeah,
that interesting to watch is a privileged perspective, right? Because the women who are hearing that experience that. The harm that women experience from that narrative is the misogyny. Yeah. The misogyny at its worst, grapes, essays, unalives. So it's like, I know what you're saying, but it is also just recognizing that men have the privilege to sit back and just be like, wow, look at all these men getting angry.
Yeah.
but women are on the receiving end. Sorry, Kitty, I know you wanted to maybe talk at the same time as well. I just wanted to...
No, it's all good. I'm going to drop. Just there's something popped up I need to deal with.
No,
but I appreciate you, Mike, for coming up and engaging. Please, like, Staples up here as well to talk. So feel free to continue. I'll catch you all very soon in chat.
Thanks.
You know what? You're an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. You too.
All right. I'll let you go. All right. Cheers, Lex.
Oh, did Staples, did you want to say something to Mike?
Hello, I'm 44 here. I'm not driving, just to be clear. Chat, I am being driven. It was just Mike, I'm a similar age to Kitty, so I'm 44. And you mentioned your sister a fair bit, so please, one thing I'd say is please don't share any of her personal experiences, because obviously she's not in the space. But it's amazing that you've started to notice these things. But as Kitty was saying, it's always been there. Like, I'm sure if you spoke to your sister or her friends, she would mention things like when she'd go to a nightclub when she was 18 and people would grab her bum. And we just thought that was what happened, on nights out. It was such a commonplace thing. And I know you mentioned it being from an area where that didn't tend to happen, or now I'm from... Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you, that was rude, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. So yeah, it's basically like it happens in all areas. Like a teacher would say, I don't know, I was part of a gym and I would see my teacher from school and he would say in front of the class, I didn't recognise you with your clothes on as a 14-year-old girl. And I didn't even understand how harmful that was until I was older. So we, as Kitty mentioned, we're all learning this. But now you'll start to see it in more and more places. So it's to just say not to get too disenfranchised with how it seems like it might be amplified now. It feels that way because you're noticing it. And, sorry if my signal's not good.
I was a nightmare when in my 20s, and that was all through insecurity. With my first love, I thought she was out of my league and I was 22. And I was... I don't know, I was just thinking that try and be the bit of a geezer and stuff like that. And I made loads of mistakes. So look, I can put my hands up to it as well, and...
Yeah. I cringe at 20-year-old me. So it's just to say, now you've noticed it, don't get disheartened because you found this space on TikTok and that's a great community. So perhaps focus on that and how we work to solutions rather than... It is hard, and we all felt at the start, obviously, that you were really feeling it. And it's just to let you know that, like, this sort of community is great for that because we can help work towards solutions together. So, and you can talk to the women in your lives and the men in your lives too, and the theys, thems in your lives as well, all people in your lives, and making sure that we're there to help everyone and in a way that helps them in their language, whether it's the younger person or an older person. So it was just a hop on to say that. But I will drop because I know Lex has got someone else waiting to come up that would benefit from the education that you have, Mike.
But honest to God, I don't know if I'm probably... Well, this is my saying this, but can I say you're an absolute sweetheart? Honest to God, like, you're so nice. Like, all of yous are. So, just thanks for hearing me out. Because, again, don't have the best vocabulary. I stutter a bit. And just thanks for hearing me out.
It's always intent. We love it. So have a good evening and I will drop. Thank you, Lex.
All right. See you later.